You are listening to Power Stance Gamers Podcast, the best place for quality tabletop banter. With your hosts, Jacob, Greg, and Muddy.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to... Yes, that's right, Greg. I said good morning. Welcome to Power Stance Gaming. I'm your host, Jacob Connor. In the red corner, have Mr. David Muddyman.
It's the fucking blue corner, motherfuckers! And good night.
And in the newly promoted red corner, Mr. Greg Millsop.
Morning, listeners.
All right, let's...
Lose.
Well, we've got Hulk on the line.
How you going out there, brothers?
Hulk, we're a bit worried that we haven't got enough reviews yet, so we're extending our competition for 2 weeks.
You guys are letting me down, and I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna break you.
So, guys and girls, what we want to do is... Oh, I've got a power stance right at me.
With a bit of Ric Flair.
That was an Ultimate Warrior impersonation there.
Brilliant. That's exactly what this cast needed.
Ultimate Warrior. What a wrestler.
He was sick.
What a wrestler.
Yeah.
So, just a reminder, we are going to extend our competition 2 more weeks, give everyone a chance to get in and get a review on our iTunes page.
Yeah, because it needs to be the star rating with the review. So you have to do the review so we know who's giving us the stars.
That's it. So we've got plenty of 5-star ratings, and that's brilliant, ladies and gents. We love them, we appreciate them, keep them coming. But
Dog still loves it.
But we need the reviews as well. So get onto it and post on our Facebook when you've done it, and make sure you actually tell us, hey, I've left a review. So,
Or I'll take all your toys off.
the last thing we want to do is hand Sloppy Sloth Slayer the prize. I mean, we love Jono, but...
He's getting nothing from me.
Alright, Greg, what have you been up to this week, mate?
Nothing much, to be honest. X-Wing with the kids as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, really. A very quiet week. Yes, school assignments, believe it or not. Reliving my childhood days, helping the kids out. So,
That's it. I feel sorry for you.
teachers, what are our teachers doing? That's all I've got to say.
Getting paid good coin for not much else, I tell you. Muddy, what have you been up to?
Well, busy at work, but I was able to get in a game of... Wait. Kings of War Historical with the Slopstar.
Nice.
So there's the Spartans and the Macedonians that cracked on, and I towed him up, so that was cool. And we got a game of Walking Dead in as well. And guess what? Slopstar smashed you again, bro. 2 out of 2.
So you didn't turn him then? I thought you might turn him towards the old Kings.
No, I don't think it's for him.
He's
I don't think it's for him.
pretty set on 9th, isn't
He loves his 9th, and I can see what he's saying with the historical, because there's it is very... We've played it, it's very quick.
Yep.
I like that, but to be honest, I just like pushing the models around because it fits my thing.
Mm.
But the Walking Dead, that was really good. We played the 200 points. He rocked up with some absolute filth. What I did...
He didn't have Lee and Clementine, did he?
No, he didn't have Lee and Clementine, but he took Rick and Carl and I think Abraham, and then Pedo Pete with the rag thing again.
Yeah.
Freaking rained on him.
Ah,
I think it was like
nice.
first turn of the event card, rained, washed that off. And then what I sneakily did, I know how to beat the Slopster now. Pretty much easy as.
Yeah.
Put a movie on.
What'd you put on?
I put on Alien 3.
Oh, nice.
He was done. I had the game done.
He's got Generation Y attention span.
Yeah, he couldn't concentrate. He couldn't concentrate. So like, I had the game, I'm like getting all the loot and that, and then I'm like, man, you actually... I had the last one, took it. You can't stop me. I've won. Done. I reckon I had him smashed up so quick it wasn't funny.
That's a gold gem there.
Nice.
Yeah.
There, like that.
So if you're playing younger guys, just throw a movie on or something, and that's it. You've won it.
So,
That's it.
just on that, have you watched Aliens yet?
I have not watched Aliens yet.
What are you doing to me? I cannot believe
I have been
this.
doing a lot of proofreading and drafting.
Jeez, wonder where all that came from. Wait up, not me. Mine are quick. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
But now I've had other things on the mind. It's, unfortunately,
Get
if
on
I
it,
want to scare
Aliens.
myself
But
silly.
were you able to knock the back out of the missus? Did everything work?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with the equipment.
Look at you, Greg Star.
It's just a bit
Don't have
rainy.
to worry about me, Sonny Jim. Don't have to worry about me.
No, that's, if anything, it helps.
It helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting rid of all that tension.
So what'd you get up to?
Me, well, as I said, my wife's gone back to night shifts, so
Oh, gaming again.
gaming again. There's been a few games going on. Had some.
Wait, we played a game, didn't we?
Played Spectre.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Yeah.
must have really made an impression. Can't wait for the review.
I've got the book right
Look,
in
you know
front of me.
what? 'Cause you went straight to me and you shocked me and I just froze.
He did.
That was a rubber
That's why we go to you in the whip around.
Yeah. Yeah, so played some Spectre, played some Infinity, played some Walking Dead, played some...
Walking Dead.
Yeah. Didn't we? Or was that 2 weeks ago? That might have been 2 weeks
That
ago.
was 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
And I've also done a heck of a lot of painting. Been,
Yep. Malifaux?
yeah, nearly finished the Latigo posse, which
yep.
is
No
good,
paint,
coming along.
no play.
Don't worry about that. And I painted some more fantasy that I had sitting on the shelf.
What?
What?
Yeah, every now and again I look at my unfinished Empire army, and there's only like the ranked infantry left to go. All the characters
All the
done, all the
dregs.
good stuff's done,
Yeah.
but it's like I've got 60 spearmen sitting there. I'm like, oh, all right, I'll knock out another 20 tonight. You know, it's
I
just,
think he's getting ready for another game of treachery.
I was actually thinking some ninth.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to play some ninth.
You just want to take
Wow.
models off, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm keen. I'm just
Okay.
because I do it
Slop
every now and
start,
again.
You heard it. Okay, he's ready. He's ready now.
Yeah, I'll help him get ready for ETC.
He's finished his morning period. He's good to go again.
Yeah, so ninth age. I'm keen to crack it out because I look up at the shelves every now and again and go, oh man, I've got so much fantasy stuff
It's
there.
just sitting there collecting dust.
It is, and I've got my old Bretonian army that I based up for Kings of War. So if I ever play Kings of War, I'm going to use that because it's based up for it. So
he still loves it good.
yeah, but at the same time, I've got my Ogre sitting there, which I painted to a decent standard by my standards.
It's a good theme too.
And I thought, Empire's sitting there, and I've got every single thing in the Warhammer Empire range. Like, it just seems such a waste to sit there and not use. So
Well, call it in, man.
I want to start getting some games.
I've played Slopster at ninth, and I had a good time. I refused to take the models off the movement trays though, which was getting him quite upset.
I can imagine.
He wasn't happy. I was just putting the dice next to the unit. I'm not taking that off. Yeah, it's like,
Kings.
it's like 40 guys are gonna take them. I'm like, nah, not doing it. But he took it well.
Good on him. Yeah, so there's that. So it's been pretty flat out, actually.
Yep. And you a couple of weeks you got school holidays, so
Yeah,
If you
by the
paint
time this
project
comes out,
on
it'll be 3 weeks till holidays, so I'm keen.
Bring it.
perfect time for you to crack on with the 40k release.
8th Ed 40k. Yes,
You can
very
read the rules for me.
excited. You know what? It's blowing my mind how they're approaching this release.
Yep.
It's so un-Games Workshop.
Different company, isn't it? I'd say. Different
Yeah.
company.
Well, I guess they've learnt from the last world they blew up how not to maybe
Yeah,
do
meant to
things.
release.
Yeah. You know what we should talk about? My Little Pony board game that
No
apparently doesn't
way.
exist, and it's just had another expansion.
It's disgusting. It's fucking
I'm going to get it
disgusting.
for your birthday.
Don't you?
We'll get it signed by Alessio Cavatore.
You'll get him to sign that shit for you.
Cool. All right, well, that's sounds like we've had a couple of busy weeks. So let's head straight into the news segment, otherwise known as News to Us.
What an exciting 2 weeks it's been.
How exciting is
It's
it?
been amazing.
Yeah, Greg,
Too
I feel that
exciting.
you say that every episode.
Do I?
Are you selling it, or is it an actually exciting time?
No, I'm like amazed, blown away is what I am. So the night we recorded, that night was the night whenever G-Dub came out with the new the new Space Marine type stroke pose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So since then we've had the Space Marines, we've had Dreadnoughts, we've had the Death Guard.
Those
all-
new dreadnoughts. Oh. Under the table. That's
Jacob getting very
Oh.
I
excited.
thought someone knocking at the door.
no. Well, there's something's knocking. I'm telling you, they are insanely good looking.
They're massive though as well, aren't they?
That's the
wonder how
point.
they-
They're a giant futuristic killing
Stompy-
machine with a
stompy
dead
robot.
space marine stuck inside it.
And you know what I like? Finally,
He's getting fired up.
from the
isn't
new version that actually, you know, the old version that used to have the Space Marine's head.
Mm.
I always thought, well, a smart sniper would just shoot the Space Marine in the head, and that would be the Dreadnought dead. But they've actually covered Space
Encased
Marine
him.
head. Yeah, exactly. So he's now a proper full-on tank.
Yeah. Oh no, it's very exciting. I thought I'm blown away.
Have you seen them?
No, I haven't seen it. I'm just waiting for the actual release.
Oh, right.
You know what? There's too much info going on. I want to see it with my own eyes and not have all these little dribs and drabs. I prefer the... Here it is.
Yeah, right.
Crack at it.
June the 3rd is when pre-orders are up.
Yeah, but in saying that, I'm someone that's not fully engulfed by it, so I can understand people that are full 40k players wanting to see the dribs and drabs to see how their game's changing, because I know with Warhammer, I wanted to see how the game was changing.
Yeah, exactly.
Up to date with it. But because I'm looking at it with fresh eyes, I just want to go, you know what? I don't want to see bits and pieces because it doesn't necessarily make sense to me. I want to see it, boom, here it all is, and go for it. And Tale of Three Gamers still happening, guys?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, sweet.
Yep.
Yes, you're allowed your painted orcs. That's
He's only saying that
orcs
because
from a previous...
you're going to use your painted Necrons.
Yeah.
I'm the only one going out actually
Do you know, I was tempted.
getting a new army.
I am tempted to maybe, if it's okay, if it looks like it's a game we might play, to maybe go Tyranids.
Right.
Oh, that's it.
The two
Yeah,
that I like are Necrons and Tyranids.
Actually, I remember you saying that's a bit of appeal for you, the alien sort
I
of.
love that
Xenos
stuff. And they're
sort of
ripped
stuff.
straight out of Alien. So
Yeah,
they got
of course,
the big
yeah.
stompy. Oh, that just suits
They're
me
well,
down the teeth.
they're well developed, and just recently they've brought out the cults of Tyranids, haven't
Yep.
they? So
Okay.
Gene Stealer cults and
Gene
stuff.
Stealer
Yeah.
cults, yeah,
Yeah.
which is going back to the old almost Rogue Trader days, but it's going back to the 90s when
Yep.
they did exactly the same thing. But they've got the vehicles for them. It looks amazing.
All right, so it
Looks
could be
really
so
cool.
I might be
Yeah.
starting a new army then. Just a question with 40k. How come they never did lizards?
Space lizards.
Yes, because in the whole fluff from my memory was that the old ones and the Satan were fighting, and that's basically what it all came down to. And the old ones then developed all the other races to try and fight they weren't Necrons at the time. I can't remember what they were actually called, and the Satan in this god sort of battle. You guys following me? And
Yeah.
And it's like Warhammer in the Warhammer universe, the 40k universe. When the old ones died, that's when the Chaos gateway was
emergent.
opened up,
Yeah.
and that's when the Eldar and that started getting tainted as well. Yeah, so I'm just wondering how come they never? Because in Warhammer, the old ones basically developed the Slan and the lizards. How come they never went with that? Maybe in 40K
I guess it comes
as
down
well?
to, you look back to why squats were squatted, and squats were too similar to orcs. So orcs filled the same bracket as far as stats are concerned, as far as squats, except squats are a little bit slower, right?
Yep.
So where would the lizardmen fit into the, like, what way would they fit in?
I don't know.
Because I guess that's why they haven't done it. What slot would they take?
I don't know.
Because Tyranids, you got Tyranids, which are essentially,
Yeah, but they're a bad guy.
they are, but they're big creatures that eat you, which is kind of what lizards are in the olden days fantasy.
No, I almost said lizards.
Lizards are a protector.
Lizards could be space marines. Not fluff wise, but same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Decent shooting, decent
But
armor,
kick
decent
ass in hand to
fighting.
hand.
Yeah.
Maybe not. There's not many
But
of
then
them.
why, like, going back to why the squad is squatted,
Yeah.
squats, why bring in another race which is very, like, almost identical?
Oh no, I completely agree with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely. But I'm saying,
Because it's another bunch of models that you could sell.
But then it's another bunch of models that
Did
they
the
could potentially
dwarves
lose
sell?
on.
did
the
they?
dwarves sell?
Well, controversial, isn't it? Now they've been squatted, but, people would say yes, they would have bought them, but I guess GW took it to business decisions. From a gaming perspective, people aren't going to buy them because, you've got two very similar races that don't really have a differentiator, so we'll get rid of one.
I'm not seeing the orcs and dwarves being similar though.
Yeah, but so orcs had trikes and bikes, squats had trikes and bikes, similar dreadnoughts. They had exactly the same equipment, exactly the same style of play, except squats stroke dwarves were slightly slower.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Put them in a bike.
Like a bit of punch up.
I don't know
as
enough
well.
about it. The old edition. I mean, I came to.
Well,
40K
how about we ask
fourth ed, so-
people that are a little bit more versed in 40k to explain it to a bunch of guys that haven't been in the scene for a while? How that all shook out,
How do you make a space lizard without making it look stupid, though?
With a big tail behind it.
Yeah.
Judge Dredd had them, and they were pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it can be done.
Yeah. All I'm thinking is like something like a Trandoshan from Star Wars,
I have no idea what that is.
like Bosch the Bounty
Oh,
Hunter.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Star Wars, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, every
Lost some points then.
Yeah, I haven't played the RPG like every night for the past like
He
5
hasn't got all the
years.
source books like you.
Yeah,
That's it.
Exactly.
Come to me when you're ready for knowledge.
Yes. All right, what else you got,
Okay,
bro?
just quickly, we've also got the Forge World Magnus the Red, which looks amazing.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I did see that. That looked
Yeah.
really
It
good.
looks
It's-
incredible with the magic coming off the base
Yeah.
and everything. Oh,
Because
wow.
he's with the
Zench.
Primarch, the Zenchi one.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he's Zench.
Is that is that what they call him, though?
Is that?
No, he's
Yeah.
the Primarch.
Yeah.
Thousand Suns.
Thousand Suns, that's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that it's come out this week that they're going to keep the Horus Heresy 30k stuff using the 7th Ed rules, but with their mainline 40k shifting to a new 8th Ed rule set. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it.
It's dynamic from a company perspective.
You're getting essentially two different games.
Mm.
I mean, they're already two different miniature lines essentially, but it's basically saying that, okay, you guys that want to keep playing 7th Ed, here's your rule set, and use this setting, and 40k now goes to 8th
It's
Ed.
a very smart business move because that's what's to say. Whenever you get your 30k fanboys bedded down, what's to say in 3 or 4 years' time you don't take it in a different direction from a rules perspective?
Yeah.
Could you argue that it's kind of lazy as well then too?
No, so
Because you're not having to rewrite all the source books or whatever how it works for the 30k stuff now as well. You're only having to worry about the...
But can you imagine if they had have gone, right, we're going to give Warhammer Fantasy to Forge World. They're going to look after rules now. And
Well,
we're going to bring out Games Workshop. We're going to take over Age of Sigmar and Forge World. They've got fantasy rules. They're going to keep pumping out models for it. They're going to support it. No, they didn't. You can't buy the Warhammer Fantasy rulebook off Forge World.
No, but they ran Tamarkan.
Yeah, back in the
day. But this is when they blew up the world.
Yeah.
Instead of blowing up the world, they say, here, Forge World's going to take it over.
But they could have done that.
They could have.
And
That's
that
what
would
I'm
have
saying.
been amazing.
And that's what they're doing with
That
this.
would have been amazing. But you still used the Games Workshop rulebook to play the game. The stuff that Forge World were doing for Warhammer Fantasy was just supplement books. They brought out the Chaos Dwarfs, for example. It was essentially just a bunch of army
but
lists.
that's what they're doing here. So Forge World is going to release the rulebook based on 7th Ed for 30k, and that's going to be the official 30k rule.
So they'll have to release a new... So they'll actually release a new book.
Yeah, exactly.
With the same
supporting
rules
that.
already in
So
it.
imagine if we got 9th Ed from Forge World, and they kept supporting with... That would have been...
such a good idea, isn't it?
I think they've really learned
Missed
from
a
the
trick,
bridges
haven't they,
they've
there
burned.
with that one?
Okay.
You're right.
So they're still keeping the game, and the 30k players happy. And as far as I'm aware, I'm not huge on it. 30k is still a pretty thriving
Well,
thing.
look at it at
People that are into
BlizzCon,
it.
and they had 20 players off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And the armies were beautiful. Just amazing. It looks great.
Can you play 30k against 40k? Out of
Don't know.
I
curiosity?
don't think you can.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Maybe one of our listeners can,
Yeah.
but I don't
That'd be
think you can.
interesting. Because who does is 30k completely Forge World done? Run?
Yeah.
Because that was one of the criticisms we used to have in Warhammer, that remember the Chaos Dwarf list
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the shenanigans
Stealthy.
going on with some of the items in there.
Yeah.
Totally.
It was even less play tested, I guess, than
Yeah.
even the Games Workshop lists. So anyway, cool.
But I think that's the thing with Forge World. If you're buying Forge World stuff, you're buying it because the models are friggin' amazing.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those guys too are buying it because they're interested in all the books, etc.
Yeah.
You know, that whole theme. So I don't think you're buying into it because it's the rules. You're buying into it because of the miniatures and the story.
Totally.
You know,
Yeah, totally. That was Tamarkan. That's exactly what it was all about.
Well, that was the only Chaos Dwarves we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So you went, and then they brought out. Remember, I got the book over there, Monstrous Arcanum.
Yep.
Which is
whole
a
bunch-
sexy book.
That is a sexy
Oh.
book with full of awesome monsters, and we used to run them in our Storm of Magic games.
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Ah, good old days.
Yep.
Also, GW released that they're bringing out the Age of Sigmar skirmish game.
I need more info before I go anywhere near this.
I agree with your comments earlier. I thought the whole Age of Sigmar thing was a
Skirmish game.
Yep.
So
But, again, maybe it's a response to the fact that Age of Sigmar's turned into War Machine
yeah,
with
we
fantasy
did say
models.
that maybe it's growing, and with the points and everything else, possibly the armies are getting larger.
Yep.
So they're trying to scale it back, which is, if that's what is happening out there, hat off to them for addressing it and maybe bringing skirmishing games back. But that's not for me. That I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'll check out the rules when they come out, but it's going to have to be pretty schmick for me to go anywhere near it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a wait and see, I think, isn't it? Okay, Fantasy Flight, you talked about it earlier. The Armada Wave 6 and the X-Wing Wave 11. Both
Oh, is it
announced.
finally out now?
Well, not
Oh,
yet.
so
Oh,
it's
not yet.
not out
No, it
yet
doesn't
still.
technically count.
Oh, okay.
So it's been released, and they released the models for Armada. So are you going to be getting the models?
I'm still haven't got the last lot
Nah, me either.
because we haven't played.
Yeah, it's been a
so
long
we'll
time.
have to address that.
It is. Yeah, I'm very keen for more Armada, especially after X-Wing, reviewing X-Wing. All I could think of on the drive home from the episode was,
Armada.
Man, I really want to play Armada.
Yeah, I go back to our comments with the X-Wing. I still feel like it needs another faction. I think you need 3. Three's the...
Yeah, you do.
You really need 3. But anyway, I think it's a great game still, and we haven't played it enough for it to be to lose its shine. I suppose
Yeah, it's
you
still
would
very
say.
shiny. Yep.
So 2 factions at the moment is fine, but if please bring something else out.
Please let me beat Muddy. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Yeah. But I took out your fish head, didn't I?
Home one.
With
Home one
with
with-
a squadron.
Yeah.
So in Infinity, we've got a bit happening. From the new releases, I think it's scheduled for next month. Yeah, June. We've got the Caledonian starter set. I would say with Pick the Punch. Looks amazing.
Are these the guys with the kilts for Pano?
No, not for Pano, for Ariadna.
Ariadna.
And they look
Oh, that's the
ridiculously
old
awesome.
like.
Scotland. They're based on.
I know what Caledonia.
Yeah.
That's what I know.
Yeah, fluff-wise, they were the first ones that went through the wormhole.
Yeah.
Then they got lost.
They're the ones that look realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they haven't got
That's it.
technology.
That's right. They're the
Yeah.
ones that I played at the tournament.
Yeah, I had my
You gave me those ridiculous
US area
monkeys or
werewolves.
Yeah, they just kept dying. Yeah, thanks.
That's because Jacob said, "Jump up in this building, and you can attack me."
No.
And funny enough, Jacob then shot you to pieces.
On a crit. On a crit.
In that game, that's correct. But in the tournament as well, we
Yeah.
were doing stuff with, and they just kept dying. In every game we played, they would die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're meant to die.
Are they supposed to draw the fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone would just shoot the main guy,
Yeah.
and then the other
Yeah.
one just
Yeah, because he's remote
the
controlled.
robot. You're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
You're like,
So you keep your main guy hidden, out of line of sight, and then you charge your other guy.
Well, you weren't helping me there. Then,
But that's because you tell me off. Because you said, "Stop telling me what to do. I'll just do what I want," and then he
Did
dies.
we get third? Did we get third?
I don't know, I
Second,
won.
I
So
think.
I've-
Second.
Got second.
So obviously I was doing something okay,
all I know is you don't look down from the top of the podium. So,
and we didn't take filthy lists.
no, we did. Hypocrite number 1 over here.
Yeah.
And also the Aristea minis. There was another one released. Well, there was one released at the weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I
The
miss
sculpt.
this?
The
Is this
3D
the board
sculpt.
game? Did you
Yeah,
say?
the board
One of their
game.
orange renders.
Yes, one of the
Yeah.
orange renders.
Well,
Yeah, looks
so
looks.
they're bringing out miniatures.
Well, yes.
Question.
They bring out
Oh.
miniatures. Yeah,
Did it have tabs?
they did have tabs.
Ooh.
That's why I said
Plastic miniatures don't have tabs.
plastic miniatures do have tabs.
Since when?
Oh, sorry. They do back in the olden days. Modern miniatures don't have.
Oh, I mean,
Plastic
it's single piece miniatures don't
Yeah.
have tabs. Sorry. So if it's a single piece plastic, it comes out, put it on the table.
It looks. It's hard to tell whether it's a single piece or not.
It's got to be plastic.
Don't know.
If it's got a tab though in the render.
So you're telling me they're going to put metal miniatures in a board
But what they
game?
could do is release a board game with a set of miniatures to go with it for all the nuts, Infinity nuts, to buy them and then buy the board game because.
Who knows?
We
They're
don't
keeping
know.
it very close to
Alright.
the chest.
But the miniature does look amazing. It's like a big fat guy space monkey thing with like a bamboo stick.
Space monkey thing.
predictions.
Which
No,
would be a
no,
moron.
no. We won't talk any more on this. But predictions.
Hang on, hang on. I do want to talk. So is he a space monkey as in a
Well-
Baccanin space monkey, or a space monkey as in like
It doesn't look like a Morat, but if I had to put my finger on it, I would say it's a Morat.
a Morlock?
Or, no, not a Morlock. Like, the space monkeys are Morats, aren't they?
Oh yeah, for the Combine.
Yeah, combined army, yeah.
Yeah.
If I had to put my finger on it, that's what it looks most like.
Oh right. When you said space monkey, I was thinking like a Baccanin genetic
No,
experiment,
no,
like
no,
the Morlocks
no.
or
No, it looks like
Uber 4
a
Commander.
Morat. But he's like a sumo Morat.
A sumo Morat.
Yeah,
I've got to Google this when I go home.
yeah. It looks amazing.
After other stuff.
Anyway, sorry,
No.
Muddy.
Make a prediction.
He wants a call right now.
I want you to make a call right now as to what you think they're going to do. And let's see how close we get.
So we're talking materials that they're making these
Let's
of?
just talk material. I
Yep.
think that's the big one where everyone's questioning, all right? I don't even know the game. Haven't even looked it up, right? I reckon they're going to go plastic. Go.
Plastic.
Yep.
I think because they do all their production in Spain, and the reports are there's nowhere to cast plastic miniatures in Spain, I reckon they'll go metal.
And I would agree, except in the fluff that they've released, the promo stuff, it specifically mentioned, JT picked up on this, it specifically mentioned Infinity the Metal miniatures game. It's like, why did they home in on, why didn't they just say Infinity the miniatures game? Why did they say Metal miniatures game?
So I didn't know that. Can I change?
No, you said it.
That's like...
But you know something, now I've said it, it's a double-edged sword. Maybe they say Metal miniatures game to go, yeah, well, that's
Be
the reason
ready for
why
metal
we
miniatures.
produce Metal
Yeah.
in our board game, because we have a Metal miniatures game as well. It makes, so it's a double-edged sword. You could look at it either way.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, I'm down for plastic. I think that'd be crazy not to attempt it in plastic to push going forward. Plastic from Greg Star?
I hope so. I'm hoping, because it'll bring in a whole swag of new blood. Yeah.
I don't care.
No, you got to make a prediction.
I'm predicting metal. I predicted
He's
metal.
up.
But
All right.
I don't...
You heard it here, folks.
It's not going to bother me.
Countdown has begun.
Alright, there you go.
And also Infinity, we've got new decals from Plastic Crafts, and new terrain from is it Bundia? Is that how you pronounce it? Bandia or Bundia?
Banjo.
Yeah, that's it. New terrain which looks amazing, and holographic signs which again looks amazing. And finally, Corvus Belli have released to go with the new campaign, Strike Zone Wotan, is it?
Yep. I don't know.
I think it's either Strike Zone or Operation Wotan, I'm not too sure, but I know it's Wotan. They're producing or releasing new, rebadged army boxes for €50, which is bloody
I saw
amazing.
something. Is this where they're putting multiple miniatures in a blister? Even I saw that one to try and get the price
really
down.
Good, really cost-effective
Okay,
boxes.
cool.
It's like Nero Terra, you get like $50, you get the starter set, you get the Squalo, a Hexa, and a Aquila Guard. Really good value.
That's actually pretty good value.
Yeah,
That's
really good value for €50. $75 essentially. Brilliant value. Okay, I think we'll wrap up the news there. Thanks, gents.
Alright, Greg, thanks for the news. Let's get straight into the whip around. We might get an actual whip sound.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week's whip around comes from someone who supported the cast from its inception. Always bigs us up, which is great, and that's Mr. Dan Vicicade. So shout out Dan, thanks for the support. It's an interesting question too. Something that's given my views on the topic is giving me a bit of grief over the years. But Dan wants to know, what is our favourite dice? And I think that's a very broad question. Greg is making...
You look like you're praying to God or something.
You look like you ever pulled a carp up onto the bank and it just flops there with his mouth?
It wasn't that bad. Surely.
It was. Yeah.
That was my thinking face.
Jesus Christ.
You wouldn't want to think too much. Like you're going to need medical attention.
Wouldn't want to see your vinegar strokes.
Yeah. You don't want to see that because that means you see. Yeah, don't worry.
So, Muddy, well, let's get back on track here.
Yeah, buddy.
Because some of us have places to be, not me, but some of us. What's your favourite dice?
My favourite dice? Look, I've got themed dice. I don't have any... If the question is referring to, like, the amount of sides on the dice, D6 all the way, if that's what he's referring to. But I took the question to be more, favourite dice is my themey dice. Now, I don't have any podcast dice like the Slopstar, where he'll literally go and shop for the ones that roll sixes all the time.
Yeah, that's so true.
I know you're listening out there, buddy. I
And he
have
does.
banned some of his dice at times.
Yep.
But we've all been
Black
guilty
Sun
of that.
dice.
Day 2 of Uke Bowl.
Yeah, Nuffle Rocks. There you go. Another. You used to bring, Greg, you used to bring out your little box of your special little dice that you knew because you and your missus are out the back practicing rolling. These things, so you know which ones are rolling well.
All in the wrist.
And I don't have anything like that, but mine, I've bought some from Chessex. I got them to design some some dice for me, my Tomb King dice.
Yep.
Got the Tomb King head basically in black and gold. I got them themed, and I got a whole bunch of Lizard Man dice, so themed with the Death's head with a lizard. So they're my favourite dice because while they might not roll what I always want, they're thematic to the army that I'm playing at the time.
Yeah, I mean, and that ties in with your whole aesthetics thing, isn't it? Like, you got to get it the whole.
Like when I play with my High Elves, I've got I tried to get some from ChessX, but they wouldn't make them for me because they said it was an IP issue at the time. Yeah. Which bummed me out quite a bit. But I've got just some normal dice, but they're blue and white because my High Elves are painted in that traditional blue and white theme. So that's pretty much how I tend to roll with my dice roll, with the dice that I prefer to use. Yeah.
Can we get some photos of your custom ones?
Yeah. Easy.
That'd be sweet. I think people are interested to see it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you too. I always used to, like, when I was playing fantasy, I always used, when I had my Zench army, I always used blue and purple dice to go with them.
It goes with them, yeah.
And, when I had my goblins, I always had green dice.
Yep.
That sort of stuff. But, still hate dice. Greg?
I have to say my favourite dice are the ones that come with the old fantasy games. So the little, you know what they are.
We've copped them before. Yeah,
the little white ones that are about a centimetre, maybe, I think, roughly, in size. Cubed, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're just super generic, but I love them. They're small and they do the job.
So they're the stock standard D6 white and red. Generally, the colours, aren't they?
No, white I generally go for.
White.
But
he's got a few red ones in there because they roll well.
I remember years ago when we played Blood Bowl and we played.
Funny. I remember these dice.
We talk about it a lot. We played Blood Bowl rock solid for 3 years, and it was no lie. It was hardcore, and everybody had this different ideas about their dice mechanics or dice. What's the word? Superstitions. That's it.
Yep.
We all had them, and everyone used to swap them out, or throw them across the room, or smash them up, or cook them like Brad used to do, or whatever.
Shout out to Brad.
Whatever it was, everyone had that. But I stuck with the same white and red, little tiny, these centimeter generic dice for 3 years, and I stuck through them, even if they were. I still got them, yeah.
You've got that little box, little plastic box,
That's
and every
full of
time I
them.
see it come out, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And I know exactly. He opens up the lid, and there's a little couple of little white ones, and there's red ones, and you're like, oh, here we go again.
That's it.
These have been practiced.
He's knocked him down. Got a crack armor. Here comes the red.
Yeah,
ones.
here comes death.
That's generally how it works.
Yeah.
So they're my favourite because they're super generic, and they've always rolled the results and needed them. So.
Oh, it's all that practicing in the backyard with the missus, toweling you down.
See what it is, that when you practice, a little bit of sweat rubs off in the dice, so it wears the edges, so you start getting results you want.
Yeah, it didn't really help him in Spectre the other night, though.
No, it didn't.
Oh, no, I think, hang on, I'm not going to take that, because I had that game.
Well, we'll talk about that later, guys, but I think I won that one.
You did not win.
We'll talk about it later.
You did not
win. We'll have this debate in the review episode, and
won.
I'm so looking forward to it as well. It's going to be great. So we've got custom themed dice.
I like the custom.
We've got Stocko ones from. So they were from the fantasy
that rolled really
boxes,
well.
Fantasy 40k. Essentially every G-Dub game came with them.
Can I just hop in here though that if those dice hadn't rolled the way they rolled, he would not have kept using them. There was nothing great about these dice other than the numbers that came up on them. Okay?
I don't agree with that at all.
What do you got, Jacob? You got much?
Yeah, actually, I have a very specific favourite dice. There's two of them.
A dead one.
No. No. Any dead dice is good dice.
Yep.
They're from the Star Wars RPG.
Oh,
the D12s, the red and the yellow D12s, which are the
cool.
proficiency and the
failure ones,
the challenge dice.
Oh yeah.
So they're the dice that don't just have success and fail and threat and advantage. They've sort of got the despair and triumph, and I love them because they add so much damn narrative oomph to the game, and they don't have numbers on them, which is great. And they're D12s, and they roll really nicely.
I was waiting for you guys to say D20s. I was waiting for it. The D20!
You should take notice of RPG stuff, because you're going to be doing it soon. You should really, ask questions and really understand it.
Lucky this
isn't going
isn't
to be all on you.
Lucky this isn't on YouTube right now, because if you could actually see my face right now,
You look really
RPG.
joyful. You look really happy.
Oh, I'm
He's
so-
excited. He's
Yeah,
got the
he's
same
so-
look on his face that you had every time we mentioned My Little Pony game.
Yeah.
That's uncalled for.
Look,
That
guys,
is so unnecessary.
apparently I have to play an RPG, and
You have to dress up for it.
got to dress up for it too. Oh, that gets even better.
Well, if I'm wearing a wrestling leotard for this live stream,
Yeah, but that's only for... That'll take like a minute or two.
not the therapy.
An RPG... How many sessions do I have to do with the RPG? Is it just one
just
sitting?
one.
Oh, you reckon?
So how
the
long,
intro
is how long is the sitting? An hour?
An hour. Yeah,
An hour?
You knock this out in an hour. Easy.
Alright, okay. Alright.
Yeah, of course you will.
Just don't. Yeah, an hour. An hour.
Oh, yeah,
buddy.
sorry, yeah.
Oh, great. So
Wink,
it's actually about
wink,
3
wink.
or 4. Great.
Yeah, so the red and yellow RPG dice from Fantasy Flight. As I said, I hate dice generally, but these ones they make the story happen. So brilliant, love it. All right, Dan, appreciate the question. Thanks very much. Shout out to Vissy one final time. And I think it's perfect time to jump into our main topic for this evening.
You are listening to Power Stance Gamers. And now, this.
All right, so the main topic this week is basically it's come to us. It was called out on Infinity Australia Facebook page. So it came to us from Aaron Bobberman, who called us out and said this looks like a good topic for Power Stance gamers and not ones to look gift horses in mouths. We decided, hey, saves us thinking of something to talk about for a week, and
You send us a topic, we'll talk it.
absolutely.
We're not scared.
And even to our surprise, he had one or two people say, yeah, that sounds good. So we appreciate the feedback. I love the idea that you think us discussing something is useful, which we certainly struggle with that concept. But the question was, and this is coming from the original post that was up on Infinity Australia, the big question that I think this whole thing comes back to is, when is it okay? What the fuck is going on here?
It's a big question. That's what we're doing.
Oh, I thought you were doing
right.
the cricket.
No, I'm doing big. I'm doing like, it's massive.
It's a big
size.
question.
I caught a fish. It was this big, man.
China boat?
Gonna need a bigger boat.
So the question that came from this post from Lockie Carter, he was the one, if I hadn't already mentioned that, he said he's got a question for the community, and that was, when is it okay to shame the way someone plays a list?
To shame them.
That was the
That's
question.
a strong term.
Then he goes to clarify and says, what I mean by this is it's fairly common to hear that playing playstyles or various lists is unfun and boring in the community, whether that's to spam lists, speculative fire heavy in Infinity, or multiple tags or something like that. And he's saying, well, it's understandable no one likes to feel ineffectual and left out of the game. Do you get a point where you've got moral high ground to basically say to someone, nah, that list is bad and I don't want to play it? And this is a topic that goes well past Infinity. We see this
100%.
in any game where there's competitive list building aspects to it, I think. So it's a big one. I'm going to throw to Greg because he's got notes prepared. I'm interested to see what he has. And again, also Greg, because you're probably out of the three of us most invested in the Infinity community. Fair to say?
Yeah, and even within our own group, we
a little
actually
bit more than me, yeah. Hi, Infinity guys. See ya.
even within our own group, we started having this discussion, and it brought out some interesting points of view, I guess.
Yep.
So
I've certainly got some points of view. So,
yeah, I can imagine. I guess from my side, and is it okay to shame them? I would say I suppose break down into two parts of the question. I would say definitely not. It's not a good thing to shame somebody. That's the first thing. That's 100%. It's just if you want to approach it from the moral high ground, then shaming someone is not the right thing to do.
You're not really on a moral high ground.
No,
to start.
not at all. But to be fair, look, it was clarified. But that's the first point. So moving on to the second point, which is it okay to decline somebody with a what you say is a spam list or like a poor list? I guess it's actually quite interesting because in Infinity at the moment we are at the stage where I think we're still trying to find our feet to some extent, I believe, and we've got new gamers coming in trying to find their feet with the lists. I myself could be accused of having a spam list because I do run 16 orders with Pano, and certainly people could look at that as being spam. I do try.
It's very high orders for Pano though, isn't it?
100% it is.
Yeah.
But I have played it for the past 2 years, so I can play it really quick and efficient, and I know how it works. Interestingly, I never thought of it until this question was asked, how my opponents find it. And I don't know, because...
I can tell you.
What I find, though...
Sometimes I find when we play, you seem to just have an endless supply of orders that I'm ticking over and going, right, that's got to be it, that's got to be it, that's got to be it, that's got to be it.
Can I ask, what is the problem right now for people that aren't versed in Infinity that's making this discussion between you two right now happen? Like, what's the problem?
What do you mean?
You're saying the spam list. What's the problem with the spam list? Why is it such a big deal?
You've got a finite activations with Infinity, so you've got orders, and with each order you activate a troop type.
Yep.
The spam list is whenever you get sort of 20 plus orders. So typically Infinity runs between sort of 10 to 14, I would say, is probably the magic number. That's sort of around that. Anything over 14, you're getting into the realms of what's called spam. Essentially, you can fuel a Rambo miniature, and he can send him up the board, and he can go nuts on your opponent.
So is it the spamming to do the Rambo? Is that the problem, or is it a slow playing mechanism?
It can go either way, because you get opposite lists where you've got spam list where you've got 30, 35 models on the board, and each of them gets an activation, and each of them gets a reaction, which is just, it gets very silly.
Yeah, I could imagine, because you're constantly having to stop the game and it get bogs down.
It's not the intent of the game, and it comes back to what I mentioned to Mike when we talked about this the other night. I like the game parameters, I guess, the guidance from the developers of the game. Say for a 300-point game, which is roughly where a tournament play is at, a game should be played within 2 hours. It doesn't stipulate that it has to be played within 2 hours because of the way Infinity's played, because it's very much a absorbing game for both players with the ARO mechanism, the automatic reaction order.
Yep.
So because of that, they don't say it must be within 2 hours, but it should be played within 2 hours. And I have to say, kudos to the organizer at CanCon, because they did give this year for Infinity, because they did give throughout the whole tournament warnings to players. You've got an hour, you shouldn't be deployed right now, fellas. You should have played your first turn. You should be, you've got 30 minutes left. If you're not in your last turn now, then time to call quits. So as tournament organizers, the guys down there, I think, got it right, because they were given updates throughout the whole tournament.
Okay, question. Sorry, I'm going to ask lots of questions.
That's all right.
I'm the outsider looking in, okay? So it sounds like you've got a 2-hour time limit, and the issue is...
Recommended 2-hour time.
Recommended, but that's essentially what you got the ITS system.
Yes, correct.
So most tournaments, from my understanding, are pretty much running with this ITS as the tournament system to use, okay? Quick, easy, it's supported by the company, we'll go with that. You've got a 2-hour time limit to the game, and then people are obviously having these mass spamming activations now to either A, Rambo, or B, slow the game down. Now, is the issue like Achilles? He's your main guy, right? Is the issue, are people having an issue with the Rambo philosophy, or are they more having an issue with the slow play because they're not actually getting to be able to finish their activations in a game, so I'm missing out?
One of the things that the issue is that generally when you put your army down against someone with that, it's not going to be fun, regardless of what they're going to do. The issue here is not necessarily mechanically how's the game work, but it's like it's going to be a slog, and that, I think, in my understanding, that's where the issue is. So it's not necessarily that.
But everything that you were talking about so far here is in the rules. They're not bending the rules or anything else.
No.
Can I ask another question then? What happens if you go out, you got your 2 hours? What happens if one player's only had one turn? How does that get? How do you guys
2015?
do that?
2016. That happened to you, didn't it?
Yes, it did actually. Yeah. So
you got slow played.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so how does the tournament or the ITS system, etc., how does that handle that?
Well, it's a good point. It doesn't handle it particularly well, because it essentially means that at that point time's called, and you count up the person with the objective count for and against, and the victory point for and against, and you work out a winner. So basically, it's going to handicap the person that doesn't have the same amount of turns.
Okay, so when the tournament, organisers playing it, remember we go back to 8th edition days,
Yep.
we were very big on you both play the same amount of turns. If that means you've got to sit there an extra 15 minutes and not essentially play the game, so that both players end up playing the same amount of turns, then that's where you end it, right there on the spot.
An issue with Infinity, though, is if your opponent has 20 dudes that can all potentially AO anytime you do something, it's not going to be a 15-minute turn.
No, it's going to be pretty slow.
No, I'm not saying that necessarily it's a 15-minute turn, but you must have some sort of an idea that, like, okay, if someone like this, well, you can only play one turn. If they're going to be idiots.
No, because I
about
play
it.
16 and I can get through a 2-hour game, no problem.
Yeah, but you're not probably when Greg's putting his list down, and you said he puts his guys down, and you go, this is going to be a slog. Are you finding that a negative game? If not necessarily Greg, but if someone else rocked up with something similar to what Greg's rocking, are you thinking that's a negative game?
It depends on who the player is and whether they. Yeah, because it's tough because
take Greg out of the equation.
Yeah.
Because Greg knows his list. He said he's been playing it 2 years roughly.
Yeah.
And you play quite quickly. You think he's just said?
Yeah, I try to.
You're at a tournament. Someone rocks up with Greg's list that you don't know. Are you thinking, oh, great, it's going to be one of those games?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Are you thinking that it's going to be they're going to either Rambo me, or I'm not going to get to actually play much of the game?
But again, I think we've got to shift the focus away from this one particular type of list.
Yep.
Because there are other types of lists that are being mentioned here, like the
Tag
double
heavy.
tag list.
Yeah.
You take a double Jodam list, it's going to be... and it's totally within the rules.
Yep.
Yep.
It's the same way that double Lash Prince was in the rules in 7th Ed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the sort of thing we're getting there, where you're going, right.
So now we're getting into the realms of comp.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, that was
Is this something...
Spot on.
the way
really.
we addressed it in fantasy, wasn't it?
It's
Is this
spot
something
on.
that's going to happen within your community now, that maybe either the company has to come down and set some better... fix it, or the community is going to have to fix it. Otherwise, some people are not going to be happy with the system. Now, you guys love the system, but you don't want to be necessarily going to tournaments and having a crappy time. So either the community has to step up and come up with a system to fix it themselves, or Corvus need to step up and fix it for its community.
Yeah, I got a couple of thoughts on that. And again, what I want to do is shift the focus away from Infinity.
Yeah, I was just about to. But
Yeah.
I was just intrigued to see how you guys are going, your solutions and how you're actually going to fix this.
With Infinity, though, I think it's the easiest way and probably the most productive way that we could get a solution in to this until anything changes. And we don't know what's going to change down the line. We've got, because it's a living rule set, essentially they update it all the time. So things might change in the future to see how that sort of stuff works. But for me, the big thing is you want to take a variety of missions at a tournament that encourage different approaches to the thing. If you can plonk down the same lists, the same events over and over and over again, then
I see what you're saying. The
you're
scenarios
almost
are
encouraging
basically
players
the
to
same.
find
So
that.
the same lists are coming in because they play it so often. You're not getting any extra variables to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And there are lists, there are missions in ITS in particular that encourage these builds.
This just sounds like, to me, obviously I don't know the Infinity, but this sounds like where Warhammer was. Because essentially we used to just run battle line.
Yeah.
Because the scenarios I'm not saying the scenarios in Infinity are bad. I don't know them, so I can't say they're bad. But the scenarios that Warhammer had at the time were bad. Okay, they were bad. So we all used to just use battle line because that was the easiest way to do it. But unfortunately, then when you have the same, everyone gets to nuts and bolts and math hammer it out to the best that they can, and you get the comp issues then obviously coming up. And with similar, your turn's taking so much longer, one person's getting disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And it looks like you guys, as a community, might have to do a bit of a band-aid method of some description just to sort it.
Yeah, and I don't think that'll happen because ITS is such a solid rule set. But in the fact that it comes pre-packaged, ready to go.
Yep.
But I don't know. Look,
would you shame? Okay, so let's get back.
let's
to the
get back to the
original
question, and we'll get back to.
Would you shame someone
No, I've said
over their list?
no. Like I said at the start.
Yeah.
I think the question's two parts. The first part, definitely not. But the second part.
Same them to the face, or would you call them out to?
Oh well. Okay. Taking the second part, and yes, I have, but I've actually done it with you, believe it or not, because
What did I do?
we're talking about this list in the context of this question.
Oh.
8th edition, I could not stand playing your 40k skinks.
Oh, the skink cloud.
And
it was a piece of work.
did say to you,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. You bring it again. I'm not playing. Like I'm not playing that skink 40k list. It's not happening.
Yeah, he shamed me.
Yeah,
He shamed you.
I didn't shame you.
I was kicking off.
We had an adult conversation where I said,
He
"Look,
cried.
that was no fun. It was no fun."
He did. He cried. There were tissues.
I don't think I cried, but I definitely.
He gave me a mask, but it was all good.
Yeah, I definitely had no fun. You know, playing against it. It was
Yeah,
no fun list.
It was a good list. And it was a tournament. Just so everyone's aware, we were practicing for tournaments, and so the whole thing was this: we're practicing for tournaments. So the skink.
But that's
cloud,
all we ever did playing
that
8th
was
Yeah.
Death's Head, all that good jazz. When the Lizards had a lot of good tools, and this was against your High Elves from memory, and you just couldn't really deal with it.
Yeah, not the list I had.
Yeah.
I couldn't specifically deal with it.
Yep.
But so taking that point one step further, that's a conversation you and I can have, and I could have that with Jacob, I could have it with JT, I could have it with any of our gaming group because we're generally a good bunch of people,
Yep.
and that's why we all hang out. At tournaments, man, it's a different situation, isn't it? Because there's so much going on, and you don't want to, the person might rock up with a double Jodum, and you know what? To me, I'd love that. I'd love to play it because I reckon I would love to take it on because I would see it as a challenge. Some people might not see that as fun, might see it as, look, that's a douche list.
Yeah.
And I guess you don't know until you play it out, I guess, if is it depends where the person plays as well, I think. Like, I think is he super competitive, or is he a fun dude that you can roll the punches and you can turn around and say at the end of it, hey, you know what? I enjoyed that. It was tough, competitive, but you're a good fun to play, and that was.
Well, let's roll it back to 8th Ed, or even 7th Ed, if we're going to talk about this stuff. If you rocked up at a tournament and your opponent put down 5 cannons in an Empire list in 8th Ed, or he put down his double Lash Prince combo lists for demons and that sort of stuff, do you look at that and go, mate, you're a tosser?
Yes, true.
Or do you go, you know what, I'll play you, but I don't like it? Or do you just go, I'm not playing it at all?
Talking, because I know the Warhammer, I won't know the Infinity thing. You used to rock up, and then I did fluff up quite a bit after that, but what do? You're at a tournament. Like, if it's in the rules, it's in the rules. Now, I'm hoping, if I'm a middle tier player, I'm hoping that after the first game, I'm probably back down with the middle tier, lower end, with the fluff gamers at that point, and I'm not having to deal with that stuff. If the guys at the top want to play that filthy sort of lists against each other, that's fine. It's usually all sorted by the first round, second round at latest, okay? So I got no major issues with it. But then, if you want to relate it back to Warhammer, we had comp for that as well. So we used to, add comp score modifiers and all that after the event. That was one of the biggest discussions, especially during the 7th Ed period, was literally comp and how it was scored. So it'll be interesting, getting back to Infinity then, how that's going to play out if you guys are going to sit there and try and comp this then.
How do you find Kings of War?
We don't have the same issues that you're having.
Well, it did. It's been addressed to a point.
Got fixed. Okay,
Yeah.
So they completely changed the flyers. For those who don't know, for new players coming into Kings, which I still consider myself a new player because I don't play very often, but the Warhammer refugee community was having issues essentially with the way flyers worked because they were very powerful. The company went, this is a problem now, and they fixed it. It got totally fixed, and they've changed a couple of stats on some of the characters to bring them back in line. The other problem is, relating it to the Infinity problems, you've got the Rambo issue. Well, you can't do that in Kings anyway. You can't Rambo anything. There's no Warhammer where you've got 16 characters in some horde of something walking up the board.
Yeah,
you can't do
the
that.
Bretonian bus.
Yep, you can't do the buses. And the other thing is you can't do slow play because in Kings, both players have the same amount of time. You are playing on a chess clock. If you run out of time, you are dice down. That's it. Your game is over. So this whole concept of having all this extra chaff to possibly game it with you getting more turns and more activations than your opponent, it can't actually happen in this game. But there are some, I'm assuming for people that know Kings better than I do, there probably are some douchey lists kicking around. But I don't think I'd ever shame anyone over it. especially if I'm at a tournament.
I guess it's no different to, like, you know, X-Wing's got it. X-Wing's got the perfect
talked about
build, or the
Yeah.
net lists.
Yep.
They're synergists, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's you know, obviously in Infinity.
Yep.
I'm sure there's
Abraham and Michonne comboed up in
There
Walking
you go.
Dead.
Walking Dead.
What are you talking about? There's nothing gamey about that. Turret Andrew, are you kidding me?
Slopster, how'd you go?
Yeah, smashed him.
Yeah.
So
Only because he
well,
wasn't getting the loot. He didn't even. He was.
the point is, there's you know, top tier lists in every system within every army that people can
There's
take.
good choices and there's some bad
Correct.
choices in any game system.
It's I think as a player how you deal with that,
Yep.
and as an opponent how you deal with that, and the interaction that's involved in that, and the I guess the play style involved.
Yep.
I think coming back to me, I don't think I would ever not play someone in a tournament. But I think if it was that offensive to me that I didn't have fun, I'd probably mention after the game, or at least start a conversation. Tell me about your list. How come you do this? What's the go behind this? And sometimes it can be something I misunderstand about the list. You know, I don't get balls deep into games like Infinity or like some people. So I could say, well, you know, look, I feel this is really. I might have had a game and I'm like, oh, I feel like that's a really powerful combo. I seem to have no weaknesses in your list and that sort of stuff. And they might go, yeah, man, I've nutted it out. This is what I'm going for. You're going to win. I'm like, and good on you if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
But they might also point out things that I didn't realize.
That's an interesting point, because I think the other side of this argument is, okay, what about that person who takes whatever style of play? The person that's complaining about it or mentioning it, have they tried the same? And have they tried running it for... Because I think, specifically Infinity, and probably any game system, you need to run it, I don't know, 3 months maybe? It depends how often you play. But I think to give it a good bash and to understand it, you need to run it for a period of time. So, and that way then you can get into the mindset. Look, to be honest, it's the reason why I bought a hack army was to understand impersonation, which I haven't played enough of, because impersonation scares the shit out of me. So, to me, the best way...
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best way to understand it and get into my opponent's tactics and understanding how they approach it is to actually play it myself, and that way then I can counter it, and to a certain extent I can deal with it better now than what I could have done a year ago, 100%. So there's definitely an element of that, I think, understanding your opponent's the whole mechanics of how that particular list plays.
Yeah.
Like going back to your 5 cannons. 5 cannons is great, but get an enemy flyer into the side of that, you're screwed.
So we're talking balanced lists again.
Yeah.
Well, yes, 100%, yeah, because every list has got an Achilles heel. Every list has got its issues.
Yep.
And I think Infinity does have that. I still think Infinity does have that. There is balance in it, 100%.
I think, me coming at it, I'm not a competitive list builder. You know, I've tried it a couple of times and I've gone...
Didn't he win the Infinity?
Yeah,
that filthy list.
You did.
We've already established it
Filthy
was
as.
me
I just-
riding on the
in case
shoulders
anyone
of giants.
And didn't you take a 2-tag list?
3-tag.
Oh,
3-tag list?
didn't he get the
No, that was
filthiest-
JT.
He got the filthiest list at a GW event.
Oh,
No,
don't even get me started on that.
Hang on, you did take a 2-tag to the...
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And got nailed because it was a terrible list.
It would look great on paper. We sat through it and went, this is awesome.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Paper means shit.
Well, then you go back to having to play the list to
Yeah.
understand the list.
No, it's
And I'd just like to point out too, this lizard list was completely themed.
What, the 40k army list?
Yeah, it was
shoot you with
talking-
poison
Salons.
blowpipes. That's a theme.
It's
Didn't-
Zafflins.
Didn't you talk about at the start of this cast about how you wanted a 40k lizard army? You
Well,
got
you
it.
had
I had
Got
it.
the
I had it.
skinks.
I did.
Just bring them
I
with the
did.
bloody blowpipes, wounded on 6s.
I like how he forgets
Far
to mention
out,
how
man.
he used to have always strikes first on all his units
On
and everything
everything.
else. Yeah.
Come on.
That was great. 40 attacks. Oh, reroll all the misses.
Yeah.
Oh, now reroll the wounds.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
And he's complaining about me.
Yeah.
Are you joking me?
Smash jump.
So back to what I was saying, as I'm
Not
nodding,
fun. It was not fun.
I thought it was pretty fun.
It's supposed to be a two-way thing.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
back to what I was saying, I'm not a competitive list builder by any stretch, despite what these guys would have you believe sometimes. I've tried it a few times, didn't particularly enjoy it, even because I'm sitting there myself going, why am I doing this? I'm taking this list because people tell me this stuff's good, not because I want to take it.
What
So-
you've got to do is convince yourself that you really like those models.
Well, that's what they say in Infinity. Take the models that you like and build an army around that as your
Yeah,
point.
and generally
No,
I
but
do.
I mean is you find the filthiest ones and
Convince yourself you like them.
convince yourself that they're my favourites.
And I think the point I was getting to though is it's not even about the list. It's just saying that's not the place I enjoy. I want to see some cool stuff happen. I want to see some random stuff happen,
Like impersonation.
like impersonation. Yeah, that's a cool little mind game, and it's your impersonator could win you the game if you play it well, but I don't play it well. But I like seeing the look on my opponent's face when he starts going a bit sideways, and you have a bit of fun with it.
Yep.
Like to me, that's the appeal of it, and it's so. I think it's hard because, and I've been called out a couple of times this week by people saying, you just don't like this happening because that's not the way you want to play the game. And part of me is going, well, yeah. Obviously.
Yep.
And I think that's fair enough because that's not my thing, but I'm never going to say, hey, don't do that or you can't do this. I'm saying, hey, what I'm trying to bring to discussion is let's look at other ways that we can have fun.
So are you in the shaming camp?
No.
All right, so we've got
But
no shaming, other than me apparently.
I want to put a but on it though.
Yeah.
And the but is that if I
Are you
think...
doing two reviews?
No,
I've waited years to do that.
to do two buts.
No, they give
No,
me shit
shame
about
on-
my lizards.
Okay. The but is basically if I copped a list from you guys I didn't think was fun, I would tell you straight up, this
Yeah.
is crap.
Yep.
And but that's not something we really need to worry about unless I'm playing Greg.
Now who's getting shamed?
Are you joking me?
I am joking you. I am
Yeah,
joking,
there you
Sunshine. But at a tournament, I wouldn't shame, but I'd want to have a conversation. Say, hey, tell me about your list, and I've done that plenty of times. And I don't want to be a dick about it. That's not the intention. I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad, but I'm just trying to get my head around what's the appeal here. What am I looking at?
Is this
essentially?
just coming up in our region, or is this something that you guys are essentially talking about in the Infinity community abroad as well?
No, definitely it's in our community.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Australian thing.
It's throughout
Yeah.
Australia. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think that might be that Infinity community in Australia is still small?
It's hard to say. I think it's still trying to find our feet and still trying to find the balance, I think.
Because when we look at comp in Warhammer, that was across the
That was
global
across
thing.
the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely that.
And some, like, it was big in UK, it wasn't so big in the US.
It depended on the countries too. Like some countries or / events were, you know what, straight out of they used to play it as straight out of the box. That was one of their sell points. And then another tournament would go, all right, we're South Coast. Do you know what I mean? So
That's
that
right,
was,
yeah.
Remember, so when you got your rules pack, it was almost like it had the key words to say how you were actually going to play the game. Not knowing Infinity again, but maybe this is something that's going to happen here, and it could be happening other places as well. So I don't know, maybe have a look around and see what's going on elsewhere to see how they're possibly handling it, because maybe their community has been established for a lot longer and they've already been through those teething things, and they might have some points of advice.
As it currently stands, like take Kings of War for example.
Yep.
Kings of War is the perfect tournament game because you can put a timing clock on it, and there's no interaction.
But it was
just
designed from the ground up to be a tournament.
100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
100%.
Infinity was designed to be a thematic, exciting, telling a story game.
Cinematic game, yeah.
Cinematic game. And now they've got this ITS, which has kind of brought in rules around how you should run tournaments or competitive games, and it's nothing more than really bandy is not the right word. It's work in progress is the best way to describe it.
It's a couple of guidelines. I keep going back to Warhammer because to me, it feels like Infinity is Warhammer. In the way it's with the tournaments and the immersion in the cinema, it's more. The game is supposed to be more about the cinema and the thematic of the game.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yep.
100%.
It's not necessarily a tournament game. They're trying to pigeonhole it.
That's right.
It's been much better. The
not saying
tournament
it's-
side
yep.
is much better designed than Warhammer ever was.
Yep.
Because it didn't have Jervis Johnson sitting there going, "It's not a tournament game."
Yeah, exactly.
We're
They've
talking
embraced
about the top end of the scale here.
Yeah, they've embraced tournaments with the ITS system, but the game is still that cinema game so that's possibly why it's having the teething problem.
It is
that it's having
100%,
at the moment.
and who knows? Maybe the next ITS incarnation might help fix that.
All right. So here's a question, and it's happened to me. Have you ever been list shamed? Apart from tonight, obviously, from Greg. Have you ever had someone look at you and go, that is a terrible list? And it happened to me at that Games Workshop tournament that we went to at Mount Gravatt. And, listeners, this list was not...
It was filthy.
It was not cheese.
What was it again?
It was...
Double steam tank?
I can vouch. I'm completely impartial here because I'd love to rip him one here, but I had to play that guy with all the Nurgle crap.
Yeah.
And that was by far the filthiest thing there.
That was a filthy list.
That was horrid.
Yeah. So my list, it was all mounted.
Yep.
But I had every different mounted unit in the Empire Army.
Yep.
It's not like I was doing, I was spamming knights or anything like
Those
that.
were crap anyway.
I literally had one of everything that was on a horse, and that was my list.
Yep.
And I had a steam tank.
But from memory, the mounted pistolers were crap.
Yeah.
They weren't.
Didn't have any war machines.
they weren't the
I can't
best.
Didn't have any flyers. Didn't have anything. But I had one of every unit on a horse.
I had that guy that had that weird special character or something as
But
well.
hang on, who's the person that's shaming you? Is he like a volunteer?
No,
TO.
it was the Games Workshop staffers.
TO. The TO shamed him.
That's
I
terrible.
was pissing myself. Oh, that's
Yeah.
the funniest thing I'd heard.
Because one, they didn't get my payment, and I'm showing them on my phone, internet banking.
Yeah.
That's the money that's gone to you. And they were like, oh.
And then they didn't have his list, so they had to comp your list right there and there.
Right then and there, and then in
I'd
front
say
of the
that's why
tournament.
I think that's why you copped the filthy list, because they were probably cranky. But no, I've never had one of my lists ever. I've
Yeah, you
actually,
have tonight.
yeah, apparently. But you know, taking that list that I used to run, there was worse out there. I think mine just matched up really well against yours. With all your low toughness and armor and whatnot. I think that was your main problem.
And your 40k skinks, yeah.
Yeah, and double fleeing and all that sort of good jazz. Yeah.
Mm.
But that got fixed up in the next edition of the Lizards when they dropped the leadership right down and you couldn't double flee anymore. Hey, wait up, you used to run Techless and...
No, I only run Techless once.
I'm going to go on
and
this
came
side
second
of the
in
tower.
Techless and Book
And
of
now
Hope.
I'm gonna-
Techless and came second, just quietly.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg? You ever been shamed for lists?
No, I think I've people have said it's a good list.
Yeah.
Probably meaning as in it's hard.
Yeah.
But never.
That's code. When you're at a tournament, so, oh, that's a good list. It means you're a cheesy
Nah,
git. I'm not going to say it to your face.
Cheesy,
You're lucky it's
shitty.
painted well.
Nah, that's never been. Nah, they didn't mean that. They meant it was a good list.
Yeah. I've had people look at my list and go, oh, and we've done it so many times in Blood Bowl or something like that, where they're going, oh, that team's rock hard. I'm like, oh, we'll see. And I get smashed. So I don't know whether it's me.
I've intentionally tried in not Blood Bowl, but certainly Fantasy and definitely Infinity, tried to come up with the all-comers, that in brackets, a list that can take on pretty much everything. And
Balanced.
Yeah, balance, exactly right. And that's what I've tried to strive for in all my games, where I can just rock up with this certain list and play anybody, any missions, anything.
I think
And it's
in most game systems, that's what opponents want to see. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone to say, I hate your army or your army list if it's balanced.
If you're playing Torah, I'll tell you I hate it.
I don't even know what those guys even look like. But like in most games, I think if you've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you haven't done the spamming of 3 of these and and whatever. I think most people are generally happy with that.
Yeah. I agree. I think we need to leave it there. I think we've covered quite a bit. Listen, we would love to hear what the listeners have to say about it, though.
well, Infinity Australia, it's
Yeah, so we'll make sure you give us some feedback. Muddy, any final thoughts on the topic?
No, I'm good. I'm balanced as.
Greg?
yeah. I just think have fun, guys, when you're playing your games. That's the main thing. Just enjoy it. That's
Yeah.
what we do. It's our pastime.
Agree. It's
And winning is a theme.
Oh, it's all about winning.
winning is a theme. All right, on that note, we'll leave it there. Can we make sure that we, if you love us, if you love what we're doing, you are subscribing to us on iTunes?
Hang on, is that Hulk? Is that Hulk guy here?
Well, can I hear him?
Is he coming?
It's me back and I'm back, brothers. And you better subscribe or I'm gonna kick your teeth in.
It's just a bit violent, Hulk.
Yeah,
Go away, Hulk. He's so aggressive.
And again, if you love us, subscribe. If you really love us, give us a
Fuck, he's
review.
got me in the headlock.
Just give him a Father Nelson. Yeah, subscribe to it. I've said that 3 times. Do you reckon they got the message yet? If you really love us, give us a review and a 5-star rating on iTunes. That works. That's really great for us. You can follow us on Podbean. You can catch Muddy on Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I'm under Siggy Buttbrain.
Hashtag. Log on our Facebook page, join the conversation there, and basically get involved. Oh, we're also on YouTube. Don't forget that too. So, no excuses. Okay.
Raw and unedited.
Yeah, don't listen to the YouTube version.
Hey, what accidentally gets put out on YouTube stays on YouTube until I panic and delete it. And on that note, we'll catch you next time.
See you, listeners.
Thank you for listening to Power Stance Gamers, the #1 place for tabletop banter. You know you love us. See you soon.
It's Eternal and Mix, well on the track once again, killing it, T-Dot to Montreal connection, funk resurrection, ha, yeah, once again.
This is Bane, and I listen to Power Stance Gaming, the only podcast made for the people.